Thank you so much for joining. I am so happy to have Meosha Bean, who is a filmmaker, producer, and CEO of the M.V.B Films. Meosha Bean is an American filmmaker. She's the founder of M.V.B Films, a production company known for its bold, impactful storytelling. With nearly 20 years in the entertainment industry, Meosha has built a career on producing thought-provoking films that push creative boundaries and highlight diverse voices and untold stories. Meosha's work spans a range of genres, from drama and horror to music videos and documentaries. Her notable film Anatomy of an Anti-Hero, starring Eric Roberts, garnered widespread recognition, earning features in Fangoria Magazine and other respected outlets. Her films have been showcased at top-tier film festivals such as the Los Angeles Film Festival, Europe Film Fair, and TIFF, reflecting her consistent ability to produce work that resonates with both audiences and critics alike. In addition to her film work, Meosha has collaborated with iconic figures in the entertainment industry, including Billy Idol, Chris Brown, Keyshia Cole, Todd, and Jordan Peele. Her diverse portfolio of music videos and film projects demonstrates her versatility and passion for telling stories that transcend genres and explore universal themes. As a producer and filmmaker, Meosha remains committed to creating content that challenges norms, amplifies underrepresented voices, and pushes the boundaries of what cinema can achieve. She continues to innovate and inspire, carving out a place for herself as a leading force in the film industry. Thank you so much, Meosha, for joining me. I appreciate you being here.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, so I'm going to get right into the question. So this is Black Women in Horror, where they're a writer, director, producer, and I just really wanted to be able to get the perspective of those of us in the field. So I'm going to first get into your creative process and inspiration. I didn't mention this one before, but I am curious to know, what's your zodiac sign?
Oh boy, you're gonna put me on the spot. Oh man. Oh, they're gonna hate me after this. Oh,
No, oh no.
I'm not the most liked one though,
Oh,
but
really?
just misunderstood. The
Oh, okay.
comes in the building, Aries.
Aries. Okay, I love Aries. Okay.
Oh, okay, well, that's good.
Aries are misunderstood, but mean well, yeah, but very
Yes.
creative people. Um, so what drew you to the horror genre?
It's interesting. When
Mhm.
I was at least about 16, I kid you not, 16 years old. It was one summer. I was with my mom. We went to the library, and I rented the Alfred Hitchcock Presents. And I was captivated by like just his unique storytelling style. I was doing short films at the time when YouTube was good. I always say when YouTube was good. YouTube was really good at that time. I was making a lot of money making short films. And I had a bit of a following. Like I was getting 100,000, 200,000 views.
Oh,
One of my
wow.
videos hit 1 million. So I had a bit of a following at that time. And so when I saw that series, like I just really loved the concepts that he they just were so engaging, the short films,
Mhm.
and each episode was exploring subjects that resonated with me, and I was like, oh, I just like that, how he did it. And it
Mhm.
kind of also reminded me of the Twilight Zone, and they offer like glimpses into ordinary life and revealing something deeper and complex that comes to the surface. And I really love that type of storytelling. And so it definitely made me like realize, yeah, whatever that is, short films, and whatever Alfred Hitchcock is doing, I want to do that.
Nice.
So that's really where the I was hooked for the first time.
Nice. Yeah, I can relate to that too. Love the Alfred Hitchcock films. Still watch.
Nice. I
Um,
mean, he's like he had like a blueprint. I don't know. For me, I
right.
think he was just really ahead of his time. You
He
know.
really was. Right. I think at that time, even misunderstood, people, I think
Yeah.
became more appreciated after he had passed. But yeah, I love his work. Yeah. And so how do you think this is a two-part question. How does your personal experiences influence the story that you create within horror? And do you think your zodiac sign influences the direction of your story?
Ooh,
Yeah.
wow. I've never had that. That's really interesting. I hadn't really thought about that. My personal experience, I would say, definitely plays a significant role in shaping my stories, within the horror game. For me, I think horror isn't just about creating fear, but it's like it's like an exploring complex emotions, right? And at least for me, I have things that I'm it could be social issues, personal, anything that for me that impacts me or things I'm thinking about. I love to, explore deeper and like wonder, like what if I'm thinking that, I wonder what people also think. So I tend to draw from my own life experiences and struggles and like observation of the world around me that I feel like it can create a authentic and grounded like um even if that's like exploring things fantasy or supernatural world as well. Like I do it all. I don't there's no genre that I won't touch, like subjects I won't touch in the horror genre.
Nice.
But Zodiac, I don't think that actually affected me. I never really thought of that. I
Okay.
really never thought of it in that way. But now that that's mentioned, I will have to pay more attention to that. That's very
Yeah.
interesting to me. Is that something that that influences you?
Yeah, so somebody asked me that question. I was like, I didn't think about that. And
Yes.
I feel like so as I'm a Pisces, and I'm very I can be
Ah,
very dreamy, and I realize when they asked me that question, I look back at all actually it's the majority of my because I do horror shorts, but they always have a dream in them. So I'm like, oh, maybe
interesting.
that's why I didn't think about that. Could be something in there that you probably think about it afterwards. That's all.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. Now I will. Some of my characters are they're very, very, and, they're very strong characters. They're
Oh,
very like unapologetic, and I feel like that's definitely a part of my sign. We're very direct
yes,
people,
definitely.
but in the most, best of ways.
Yes. Well, that's good. I can see the connection there too, though. Definitely. Okay. Okay. So can you walk us through your creative process when developing a new story or script? What does it look like?
Oh man, such a that's the process. It usually starts with like a just a like it could be anything, a conversation, it could be a news clip, a personal experience, something super random that sparks my curiosity, right? And oftentimes, you know like especially when it comes to like, say for instance, uh for me, I love people
Mhm.
study. I love trying to understand people, because I people be people in out here.
Right. That's a good way to put it. That's exactly what they do.
Yeah. So I think for me, that's where really it's just if if I could, I just love to go. It's like a social experiment, really, for myself. Like, and understanding, like, if I like myself, why do I what makes me do the things I do, or I notice that's something I always dive into. It's always something with people, figuring out like how the mind works. Why do people do like why do we do the things we do? And just posing questions to the audience, and hopefully that makes us understand each other. But yeah, my process is, yeah, it's just really it's different. And I feel like for me, I just love I really love well, for instance, say it could be the fear of losing control.
Okay.
Like I feel like I have a very controlled life. I'm very meticulous about, like, I know what I want. I know, like, okay, okay, A to point B to C. I know how I'm gonna get there. I don't like there's just so it's really just like uh it could be like a lot of different things, honestly. But I would say that I just love exploring deep, deeply personal fears,
Oh,
or things that starts with whatever feels like an emotional, you know,
oh.
connection for me. Like I think that I really love diving into stuff like deep like that. But
What?
that's definitely my process.
And that's deep because usually some people tend to retreat instead of diving in. You actually the opposite. You actually dive in and look at and kind of I guess to feel it. Some people want to escape
Yes.
feeling. Right. Yes.
And see, and that's the thing is like, why? I feel
Right.
like it's the thing we have. Well, I think it's very therapeutic as well, according to my therapist.
Right. I agree.
I'm a healthy one, by the way. I'm a healty ram, so
Okay, that's good.
I have to. I feel like that is so important. I feel like we
It
all,
is.
whether if we're talking about zodiac, I feel like we all can be. We all have a shadow side, right? And if
Yes.
whatever we lean into more, that's going to be what that's how we kind of go through life. And I feel like if we really do that introspection and that work,
Mhm.
I feel like the world is just it opens up to us even more.
Yeah,
Yeah,
most definitely. Right. Deal with it. Let's face it instead of running from it.
absolutely.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Okay. So what themes or messages are most important for you to convey in your work?
Human nature. I kid you not. The I think the motivation behind
Mm.
our actions, right? The
Right.
reasons for our behaviors, the origins of our impulses, just all kind of things like that. I believe that by understanding what drives us, right, it will literally we will be able to understand each other. Because we're living in such a really disconnected time. Like I don't think we're so disconnected when it comes to human interactions. I don't know what if it was COVID that happened,
Yeah.
like after COVID, because like I feel like everything's just weird now.
Yeah, it is. Right.
Like, I'm just trying to figure that out. I'm just trying to figure the answer. And these and I just pose questions. Uh, I feel like these are and it challenged I feel like it challenges the audience to reflect on their own lives, right, and the world around them. And you know, it's important, like even if it's a PSA or whatever short concept that I do. I mean, I've done a lot of PSAs, and I feel like those are great ways to pose a lot of questions to people because it's palatable, right? And people seem to be more receptive and of receiving that kind of information that way.
Okay. And do you feel like it's been different, like as far as have your themes changed, you think, since before COVID, or has it been pretty much the same? Or the way
Um,
that you're getting it has changed?
well, it's still kind of the same sort of,
Okay.
but I will say I'm more on the psychological
Okay.
like side of it. Like for me, it's like, we get this again, and I hate to be put in boxes. Like I think yes, horror is I think it's like the honestly the best genre, of
Yes,
course.
I agree.
But but people when they hear that, right,
Mhm.
they just think, well, you're just doing like monsters and
Right. Yeah.
like ghost stories, and you're like, no, actually, if you if and I just really wish people knew that there is such a it's there's like endless possibilities in
Right.
this genre to talk
Yes.
about. And I really love that.
Yes, I love that. Yes, that's very true. Um, and then so with that, are there any specific myths, folklore, or historical events that inspire your storytelling?
You know what? This is so funny. I've been through all my life. I'm thinking, and so I okay. I have not actually delved into folklore, not like that,
Mm,
but I do know about it.
okay.
I do love the Salem witch trials. I really feel like, those were perfect examples of how human nature, you know, can just irrational and fears and violence and just how all that just happened, that would the idea of being accused and condemned for something you could not control, that's like that is a deep
Right.
fear of, you know what I mean?
Right.
And but I never actually explored folklore. I had a friend, we were actually going to do something kind of we actually came up with a concept, but we never really flushed it out entirely. This was like maybe I want to say she's an amazing writer, friend of mine as well, African American writer, and we were going to dive into it was going to be in the folklore kind of realm, but we just didn't finish it. And I don't know, life just happened, but I definitely want to pick that up again because yeah, I'm like, it's crazy. I was literally telling her I've never gone into that. It's so interesting.
Oh, nice. Okay. I look forward to it. I think there's definitely a lot of possibilities. There's so much folklore and myths that can be created into storylines. So, looking forward to it.
Yes.
Yeah. So now I'm getting into challenges and representation. Um,
Mm.
What unique challenges have you faced in the horror genre, and how have you overcome them?
Man. You know, I've for many years I think that, you know, horror filmmakers were primarily men, right? And the genre itself often focused on, the male protagonist, and women were just existing or the victims, you
Oh,
know.
yeah, right, exactly. Damsels in distress.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. And as a woman filmmaker, I feel like breaking into that space can be sometimes feel like it's like an uphill battle, right? It's
Right,
it's it's the opportunities for women behind the camera has been limited. And
right.
being a cinematographer first, so I went to school for cinematography and then got into directing in that
Okay.
way. So I feel like being seeing that side, I
Mhm.
didn't really see many of us.
Okay, right,
But when I did, I'm like, okay, there we are, we're here.
right.
But it's not widely publicized or talked about. But we're definitely here. But I do think that, I don't know, mid has just been dominating um, for many years. So I think for me, breaking into this space can. I overcome the challenge by embracing different range of horror storytelling, right? And
Right.
not limiting myself with, what others, who expect something from me, like, oh, they have these expectations for me to like, oh, you should do this and that. And I just don't. I like to, I'm interested in exploring themes that uh, you know, relates to like kind of like a power dynamic like that, and trauma. Like I like to like explore those things too, like show the power, the strength of a woman character. Like we're not just, victims all the time.
Exactly.
And I just think that's, yeah, that's how I overcome them. I just don't do what they tell me to do. I go against the grain.
I love
And
that.
you have to be okay with that, because I've been in meetings when I remember I had a pitch to Fox. We had a pitch meeting, and they were saying one thing, and you know I just couldn't get down. I was like, listen, I hear you.
Right.
But like, it's about time that we, so I'm okay with standing up and saying, and not being pushed against the wall because, you know of a big
You're
conglomerate
told.
or whatever.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you have to
Oh,
say something.
yeah. Or even this is what it's supposed to look like. Horror should be this way.
Yes,
Yeah, yeah. I love that.
exactly.
Right. Um, and so how do you feel the representation of Black women in horror has evolved over time? And do you think it still needs to change? And what do you think still needs to change?
Mm. Ooh, that's a that's a very loaded one. I
Right.
think I think you know Black women appear in the horror genre as like this, almost like the savior complex too. Like I think we all just, Black people in general, just have that. Like we're the person that's like, we're the relief,
Right.
or the like that one friend, that one
Right. The
Black
one
friend.
friend. Yes.
Like really?
Right. It's not even realistic in the story. I mean, yeah,
No, it's
yeah,
not. It's
you're
it's
right.
not realistic. And
Yeah,
it's unfortunate because people actually believe
right.
what they see.
Yes, yeah. Which is most
So
dangerous.
right.
Right.
Art imitates life,
Right.
and all of this stuff. So people, when they look at this stuff, they actually think, oh, this is, you know. So I think it's very important to that these images are coming from an authentic place. And
Mm,
again, I get it. We're this is Hollywood.
right.
We're pumping out
Mm,
this money. Green
mhm,
is, not a color. Green
right.
is green, no matter where
Right.
you are.
Right.
So I do. When that's one thing I definitely had to understand being in this business, is that the companies, they're just trying to figure out, oh, is it going to make money? Like, bottom line. And you're thinking, for people like that just love the creative process and really want to leave something important behind.
Mhm.
Uh, you know, it's like you have to kind of play the game in a way.
Right.
Uh and it kind of feels like cheap sometimes. You feel like, man, is this I do love making money. Absolutely. Making money
Right.
is really great, but I feel like the stories and the characters they suffer when we don't uh care, you
Right.
know.
Yeah. Yeah. So
So I
actually,
feel like you have to care.
you have, yes, most definitely. I think that's important because if not, then it feeds the stereotypes. So that actually would leads me into the next question. So how do you address, if you experience it, stereotypes in your work, and what do you hope the audiences take away from the portrayal of Black characters?
Oh man. A central focus for me is to ensure that Black characters are not defined by their race alone, right?
Right. Yeah.
But by their personalities,
Mhm.
desires, and struggles, stuff like that. I think too often media just they display Black characters and reduce them to like a one note role,
Right.
and like we said, whether that's comic release or the magical figure. And for me, the pushback against these stereotypes, ha- like we just I I address it in when I'm in these writers' rooms, or like when I'm before I like whoever I'm aligning myself with. I'm like, look, if we're talking about a character, because then first of all, we're talking about Black people that when they go see it, they're going to, because I've been to movies theaters and I've left and I said, I don't, who, like,
Right.
that's not what we do.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah. But
Like,
then
who
many
wrote
times,
this?
right.
And we have that little that very uncomfortable car ride, and my friends would say, who maybe aren't, some that are non Black, they'll be like, well, I don't understand. I'm like, well, see, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
You have to
You
see
wouldn't know.
from,
Yeah.
yeah, from our point of view to really, and also to live it,
Right.
because again, these I again, how I do it is I address it. I talk about these things, and even if it's like a lot, like I said, aligning myself with people that are like minded, that want to actually tell authentic truth, uh,
Yes.
then that's who I want to work with when it comes to, we're talking about like Black characters, and um because there's just too many times that, and then if you have it's like, for me, it's like, if I understand if you're on a Holly, like a very big, very big movie, there's politics that
Right.
comes.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
So you have to dance by their beat in order to get the money.
Right.
So it makes sense that some of these stories are like that, for
Right.
lack of a better term. And for me, when I say, when you have full creative control,
Mhm.
there's no excuse.
Right. Absolutely.
Like,
Absolutely.
no one's telling you what to do. That's your money. You put
Yeah.
that, so
Right.
I always say, just do it yourself.
Right. So,
Be the change you want to see.
excellent. That's amazing. Okay. And I agree with that. And then industry and collaboration. What are some of your favorite collaborators and what have you learned from working with them?
Ooh, favorite. Oh God,
Yes.
that's a tough one.
Right.
I will say though, I had the privilege of working with a lot of people, and I am so grateful. Um, but I really got to give my mentor, I got to give him his flowers. He's not only, a writer, director, producer. He actually, um, Ronnie Warner, I got to give him a shout out.
Right.
He was, he saw some, gosh, like I said, I think when we first met, he gave me my kind of like, oh yeah, I guess you could say almost like a really pretty big break in the industry. Like, he's very connected, well connected. He worked for Warner Brothers at the time. He wrote for Steve Harvey, and a lot of, kind of like a lot of things. But I will say that I was just so grateful to him, because he was such a professional guy. He did movies like Puff Puff Pass, uh, and things like that. But he's just a family man. He's humble, and just remains grounded with all his success. So I think for me, that's something I learned from him, is it's like, it exceeds beyond the craft of filmmaking, right? It's one of the things that there are just a few people that you meet in the industry that are genuine people that practice what they preach,
Ah,
and especially at a certain level in the business, and you're like, the money didn't get to them, or they're still just very much themselves. You're like, wow, and for me, that like honest, good people are out there. That definitely, he taught me that, like, that that there are good people in this business, and that you could just trust the process, trust that everything's working out, and what's for you will come in due time. And yeah, his guidance definitely helped me navigate through the business. Like when I get crazy in my head, I'll give him a call. He's like, Bean, and he loves saying that, Bean, listen. And just a good guy. He and his, family man, his wife, his family, just good people. And I worked with him many many times, but he was someone that saw my potential even early on, at
yes.
the beginning. So I give him definitely a shout out. So
That's
that's
wonderful.
my favorite person that's so
Yeah,
far.
I love good people. They make the difference. They make it all worth it too, you know? So yeah.
Oh yeah, like even the bad experiences that I've experienced, and I've experienced some really scary things, like eyes wide shut stuff, But
Okay.
um, when I met him, I was like, man, okay, not everybody's like this. That's
Right.
good.
So breath of fresh air. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes. Well, shout out to Ronnie is his name, right?
Hmm.
Ronnie. Okay.
Shout out
Shout
to
out to
Ronnie.
Ronnie. Yeah. We need more people like you, Ronnie. Um,
Absolutely.
so how do you balance the creative freedom with the expectations of studios, producers, or audiences? Like how do you do that?
I think by staying true to my vision, understanding that the business side of filmmaking, collaborating with the right people, right, and I think for me, it's possible to create something that resonate with both your artistic side and the practical realities of the industry. It is, you can find that balance, but it's at the end of the day, I think the most successful projects are those that manage to, I guess, satisfy both, right, the creative vision and the audience expectations, but pushing the boundaries and offering something unique.
Okay, nice. Very nice. And then, so what advice then do you have for aspiring Black women writers and directors who
Ooh.
want to break into the horror genre?
Run. I'm kidding. Run as fast as you can. I'm joking. I'm joking. Could you imagine? That's literally no.
Right.
No. After all this whole thing, it's just like I just say that, and it's just like,
Right.
and just like, oh God, no.
Right.
No. I think I don't think I have. I guess for Black, I guess for me, trust your voice.
Okay.
Embrace your uniqueness, and don't be afraid to carve out your own path. Seriously, I cannot stress that enough. I have been Doors have closed on me so many times.
Okay.
I've had people, I did acting as well, and I've had people say, "Oh, we don't want your kind,"
Oh,
and I could have thrown in the towel, and I'm like, "Screw this place,"
yeah, that's right.
But I just feel like you have to, horror is a genre that thrives on pushing boundaries, right? Confronting fears. And it's all about trusting yourself, and don't wait for permission. Just keep doing it, execute, however big or small the project is, just do it. Uh, I think for me, I've always, when I think about my career, being a little girl from Florida, you know, gosh, Gainesville, Florida to be exact, Tim Tebow,
Um,
a small town. Uh, I always knew that there was something else out there, but I was just so, and I think for me, I've always had this in me, and I shout out to my parents. I think this is, and obviously God, putting this in me of like, just keep going, like never just push boundaries, keep going. Don't just trust yourself, like your
right.
inner light will guide you.
Right.
It just always does. Even when something bad is happening, sometimes bad things happen so that good things fall into place. Like I feel like it's all working out. And is honestly start where you are, because I started with like nothing, and I just was creating, and like the more you create, and it it takes time. It's like not obviously it's not no, no microwave success. It's just you really gotta really love it. The passion is what drives you. So it's not like it's a work. It's you're having fun. We get to make believe, play make believe, right?
Oh, right,
Like,
yeah,
and it's like we get to do this for a living, and that's pretty freaking cool.
it is. Yes, so and I love that too.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah,
So put your work out there, share it with the world, and you'll find your audience, or your audience will find you. You know.
yeah, exactly. It's having faith.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I really believe that words are power. So also mantra, say the right thing. Speak words of like life and over your situation, over your like I am notorious for mantras.
Okay.
So
Very good. Yeah, me
because I
too.
yeah, oh I
Yeah, I
love
believe in
that.
it. Because your words are energy. I always tell my children that music is energy, words energy, thoughts are
Yes.
energy. So you create what you think about, you create what you're saying. If you're saying one thing, but you really feeling something else, and it doesn't mean
Yes.
to go hard on yourself about it or like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm thinking it. But it's just, being mindful of those things.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. I
Yeah.
really quick. I had a lady. I remember she told me I was coming out of it was like a Q&A. Regina King was there, and
Mhm.
Felicity. I think it was Felicity Hoffman. They were talking about women in the film, and this is like early on in my career.
Mhm.
And I was leaving. I left feeling. Well, I was leaving out of the parking lot feeling good. I was going to my car, and this lady was like, don't believe any of that stuff." She goes.
Oh God.
I'm like on cloud nine, and she's
Right.
like, all that is fake. It's a Hollywood, it's a pipe dream, honey. You just keep
Oh
living. And you're gonna
gosh.
be just like us, dream disappointed. And
Oh
I
my
was like,
God.
and I literally said and I didn't know this lady from like I'd never met her in my life, but
Uh-huh.
I looked at her and I said, that's you, speak for yourself. I said,
Exactly.
life.
Yes.
And you
Right.
have to
Yeah.
step people down because they can speak over your life, and
Exactly. Yeah.
them.
Yeah. It's great that you nipped that right in the bud too, because
That's
yeah, because that could have messed up somebody's day, even their life,
yep,
really important.
very true.
Yeah. So that actually takes it into personal and cultural impact. So what has been the most rewarding moment of your career so far?
Mm. I always gotta go back to when I was offered the opportunity to work on horror noir, the history of Black horror, like
Mm.
produced by AMC Networks. Now that was amazing, truly I think marked a pivotal moment in my career for sure. Like that project, it has like legendary horror icons, Keith
Yes.
David, The Thing, the late Tony Todd, God bless him, Candyman, Rachel True from The Craft. I mean, just and obviously the incomparable Jordan Peele, of
Oh,
course, Get Out,
yes.
it
Yes.
Beyond. If you don't know the guy, you're living under a rock.
Right. Yes, right.
Also, Key and Peele. Let's not forget that one.
Right. Yes,
Through and
love that
through.
one.
Oh man. But to just be a part of that and to celebrate the rich history of Black voices in the horror was just honestly incredible. And the recognition of my efforts, contributing to such an iconic piece of work is something I will never forget. I'll always cherish. Um, but I will say when I got a feature, I was on the cover of Fangoria Magazine, which is like I had a 4-page article,
Nice.
and also it was like a dream come true because I've always read Fangoria. It's a horror magazine. It's been around for like, oh my God, years, like 1980 something, I believe, or even later than that. But it was like a full circle moment for me as a creator, like and a horror enthusiast. I felt like that was a milestone for me. I was like, whoa, like so it can be done.
Right.
Persistence and believing in yourself, it's literally that. And so I think for anyone on that similar journey, I would say just keep going because the potential is just endless.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. I'm glad that you can understand that as well. In general, I love when people get that. It's definitely there. The same thing with energy. Words is energy, thoughts is energy. What you're thinking is what you create. But
Oh my gosh, what you're thinking is what you create.
right,
Oh,
yes.
it's
Yeah.
deep.
Right. It is. It really is. That's just something that's small, not to sidetrack, but I used to do like an experiment a couple years back. I started doing it before I would leave the house because I'm in the DC area. The traffic here is ridiculous. But so and there was a place, and when you go downtown DC, it's hard to get parking. But I would always visualize the parking space
Mm,
before I leave, and it really works. I'm like, this is not a it's not just a thought. It's like it's so much more deeper than that that I can't even explain myself. To
mhm.
visualize that before I actually take the time, before even on my way there, I would always get the parking space. So
Wow.
yeah,
It's like you crack them like once you like it's kind of like the Matrix, right? You you
right,
you you take whatever pill you take, either you could stay in
right,
the real world
exactly,
where this is what society says you should be and da 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 da,
right,
or you break out of that and you see the actual like coding. I think when you start to really look and live life on that level,
right,
it really the world just opens up to you. Like I mean, in the most
yes,
like we have a lot of control more we actually have the power more than we think we do.
yes, I agree,
um there's more us than the conglomerates,
right,
the people that control things
right, and
about it. But I think it's like having that mindset, like that waking everyone up at the same time. Oh my gosh, that would be amazing. But
it
you
would
know,
be, yeah,
propaganda
yeah,
and
right,
yeah,
yeah,
that's what they're here for,
yeah,
to
that's
control
what
the
it is,
masses.
right, yeah, unfortunately, but yeah. So, how do you see the intersection of horror and social commentary shaping the future of the genre?
Oh yeah, I love this.
Yeah.
I love what you're doing too, by the way.
Oh,
I
thank
I
you.
I looked at your oh my God, your TED talk was amazing. I was like,
Oh, thank
yeah,
you. Yes, right. Thank
so
you.
good, so
Yeah,
good.
yeah,
Um,
thank you.
so yeah, films like Get Out, or Us, right, by Jordan Peele, or they cloned, or was it who cloned? Is it who? Oh, they cloned Tyrone.
Oh,
Um,
yes, take your time. Love that
brilliant,
one. Oh my gosh, that was
brilliant. Oh my God, that it just delves into so many issues like systematic racism, identifying the like black bodies, right?
yes.
Like that was deep.
That was
Like
very deep.
think about it, I was like, these kind of films, I just love that they show that horror can do more than just entertain.
Right.
It
Yes.
can provoke deep thought and challenges viewers to reflect on the world that they live in. That,
Yes.
I feel like that is so stuff like people make stuff like that. It just gives me so much hope that okay, there are people that are like-minded. Like
Right.
we're all like we're not alone. Because
Right.
sometimes you can feel that way.
Mm-hmm. Very true.
But you know, but I think the intersection of horror and social commentary is it's just not just shaping not just shaping the future, right, of the genre, but um it's redefining it in a way.
Yeah, very true. Yeah, actually, after watching Who Cloned Tyrone, I know my husband and I often go out, we go dancing in different not a club like nightclubs, but and then the certain songs come on. I see everybody doing the same dance. I always think about Who Cloned Tyrone.
Right.
It comes to mind, it's like now it's like in my head. But yeah, it's how it sticks. But so
Yes,
so what role do you think horror plays in helping society confront uncomfortable truths or traumas?
man. Horror is traumatic. It's meant, I guess, to be a way to process trauma in a
Mhm.
safer way. Like if it's your fear of ghosts or your fear of like the supernatural, your fear of I don't know, other whatever, but it allows you to like work with these fears out of the safety of your home or whatever you are. Like it just you're able to process and deal with uncomfortable feelings. Whatever fear that I have for me, I don't want to say because I'm such I have a thing where I really like to have this mystery about me. I feel like that's what keeps me very interesting. I
Yes.
can't tell everybody my fears.
Right. Yes.
I do have this, well, not yeah, fear of not loss, but fear of losing out. So that I think that's why I always have to kind of overcompensate in my life. Like I like to do like, okay, I gotta make sure like I don't miss anything. But I'm learning that it's okay. Like
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's a process.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like that's what I think, like it's we have to confront the trauma at some point, or we're just going to be on a hamster wheel all our life.
Right.
And
And it,
so you just have to do it. You have to.
yeah, and it transcends into other areas. You
Yeah.
know, yeah. Um,
Healing in a
yeah.
lot of ways
Yeah.
too.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So now,
Hence therapy, everyone.
it,
Definitely check it out.
yes,
I
just
feel like it's
important.
so important. People don't do it. People
They
don't do it.
don't.
They're
Right.
like, oh, I did therapy. I'm like, you did therapy.
Yes.
Okay. They're
Right.
like, yes, I don't need it anymore. I'm like, huh. I don't think it's a bad thing. See, even that gets a negative.
It does. Yeah. Like, I don't think people really, I think there's a little bit more of recognition to mental health now and just,
Yeah.
but there's still a stigma attached to it, so with therapy. So I think it's important. Like I'm a complete advocate for therapy. I think it's a highly important,
Yes.
just our growth and our progress and just being able to just get off what's on our minds.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, yeah,
100%.
right. Yeah. So now we're going into legacy and vision. What legacy do you hope to leave in the horror genre?
This is a great question. Um, I just want people to think, I think the legacy I hope to leave in the genre is one of just creating stories that not only entertains people but provokes and sparks conversation, and challenges, you to, face your fears, whatever just really looking within, deep introspection. I think I want my work to contribute to the shift of how we view horror, turning it, the genre into not just entertainment, but just exploring human complexities and social issues. Honestly, I just want to be able to, like a therapy session for
Right.
yourself.
Yes,
Like,
right.
I am so a believer of learning from just learning, because that's what we're here for. We're here to, you know, learn from each other and contribute what we learn to the world. So
It's
that's what I hope to leave behind.
beautiful, beautiful. And so what do you think the future holds for Black women in horror, both behind and in front of the camera?
Ah, gosh, I don't know. I'm just kidding.
Mhm.
Just kidding. Uh, I like to joke, as you see, I gotta stop. I
Right,
gotta
yeah. No, I love
uh
it. I
the,
appreciate it.
it's the caffeine. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah, okay.
The the future, I believe, of Black women in horror is full of excitement. I think it has so much endless potential. There's more Black women taking up spaces in front and behind camera. You know, I think the genre will only become richer and more complex and more inclusive. I feel like the future of Black women is, it's just not participating in horror, but they're driving the genre forward. I think a lot of Black women are starting to tell stories. I
Yes.
mean, you have so many amazing, I mean, such as yourself. I mean, um,
Mhm.
just so many amazing women that want to, create stories that speak to unique experiences, community, and that, and not just to speaks to our community, but that also resonates, with a universal audience. Like, anyone can watch. And I just want to make sure that I point that out too, because I think a lot of people, when we do talk about these subjects, a lot of people who aren't African American or feel that they can't watch these movies, or they feel like this is not for them to hear. No, this is for everyone to hear. This is absolutely important because we're telling our truth, our stories, and thus for people to understand who we are
Right.
even
Yeah.
better. So we can, so it could be a healthy um outlook on who we are. But
Yes.
I do believe that it's the horror, it's just, it's endless. Honestly, I truly believe that we're at the beginning and we're scratching the surface of Black women and that what they contribute to the horror genre.
Yes, I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited about it.
Mm. 2025, let's go.
Right, exactly, right. Yes. Um, and if you could collaborate with any writer or director in history, who would it
Ooh,
be? Why?
this is hard. I have such a list. I have a crazy list. Okay,
Okay.
all right. Okay, let me just okay. It's gonna be a little bit. Okay, so I'm gonna just set first of all, this woman, Angela freaking Bassett.
Oh, yes.
I
He's amazing.
love this woman.
Yes, right. She,
First of all, she doesn't age. I don't know.
I
She's
know.
the fountain of youth. I actually saw her twice at a few events. I just never had the chance to. I didn't have time to. We were literally sitting on the same row, and she walks in. I was just like, "Yo, Meosha, just go over and say something." But we had to go, and I think it was at some another talk, and she was in the audience on our row, and I was like, it's gonna happen. I'm gonna talk to her one of these days. I'm gonna have the courage. But I saw her and I was like, this woman is just a goddess. It's
Yes.
amazing. I just really love her roles. I love how she's stayed herself all
Yes.
these years and didn't have to change or fit anybody's box.
Right.
She's just Angela Bassett, the
Yes.
icon that she is.
Yeah.
Um, I love Angelina Jolie. I love
Mm.
her chaotic upbringing. But now that she's, you know, gotten older, she's just completely changed and she evolved into a filmmaker that tells some of the most thought-provoking
Agreed.
social stories
Right.
these days. And I love to work with her. Of course, Jordan Peele, Stephen King. I mean, these are just notable people that I would love to. Ari Aster, I think his name is Ari Aster. I think amazing director. He did I want to say it was Hereditary,
Oh, okay.
not mistaken.
Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic director.
Right.
Uh Dion Taylor. There's some amazing people coming up and doing their thing. Regina King, of course.
Oh, yes. Amazing.
She's a force.
Yes, she
Um
is.
and also coming that she came from acting and doing and she's directing now, it's pretty incredible.
Right. Yeah.
Pretty incredible.
Oh, I love
So
it.
these
Love
are
it.
kind of some people.
It's amazing list. Imagine all of them together too. In one
Right.
project
I'm just
is
like writing a
phenomenal.
sandwich.
Right. Okay, so I know these are just some closing questions. Is there something if there's something that you can tell or teach yourself, your younger self,
Oh,
when you just got started into the industry, what would it be?
you can't control anything,
Okay.
and and to live a little, definitely. I tell my younger self to live a little.
Nice.
I was someone that didn't really have a childhood, not really. I was very much, I was 16, thinking I'm 35, and trying to worrying about my future and not really didn't go to school dances, didn't go to prom, didn't do it. I was just so focused.
Mm,
Um, but I really wish I could have lived a little bit more.
okay. Nice. So on that, any last words that you would like to share?
Last words. Um, I have this belief, right, that what's meant for you will always find you, right? And that's really been my guiding light in my career. And sometimes the path doesn't look the way we imagine it would, but I truly believe that God's timing is the perfect timing.
Yes.
And whether you're facing, whatever challenges, your fears, the unknown, whatever, I trust that the journey is unfolding as it's supposed to. And yeah, I just learned to lean into that trust even more. I feel like that is the key to continuing on this weird industry, also exciting industry that we're in is as well. Yeah. So that would be my last words.
Beautiful. I love that. And then so please let the listeners know how they can contact you or stay in touch.
Yeah, so I am on the gram, Meosha Bean official. You can just that's Meosha Bean, B-A-N. Um, yeah, like beans and rice. So I'm on Instagram. You can Google me, Meosha Bean. I'm everywhere on this on social platforms. But yeah, Instagram is like usually, or email me to contact me. Have anything that you want to work on, collaborate, and you know, yeah.
And do you want to share your website with your so they can
Yes, yes,
email?
yes. Yes. Um, yes, Meosha Bean blogspot.com or yeah, and or you could find all my links from my Instagram, like literally on the like click on the links page and literally everything about me. How to contact me. You can actually DM me directly to get my email from there too and my website. But yeah, that's where I am.
Thank you so much, Meosha. I appreciate you taking the time to have the conversation with me. This was amazing. I loved just your feedback and just your responses. And I look
Uh,
forward to your future projects and sharing this with you as well. I'll be following up with you, but I really enjoyed this conversation and I wish
me
you all
too.
the best with your projects.
Thank you. Same, same. Thank you. Thank you so much for reaching out. I'm always down for conversations like this. This has been a pleasure. Thank you so much. Thank you for doing what you're doing. You're
Thank
amazing.
you. Thank you. You're amazing too. So I did all those sentiments.